Good morning, welcome. Thank you all for coming on this journey with me of getting back in shape or getting in better alignment if you're already in shape. We are going to transform our bodies from the inside out and the outside in, hopefully both ways, right? Working on the muscles, working on the core, getting everything back in place. This is a great workout for postnatal, and you are still postnatal if you haven't gotten back in shape or in shape since you had a baby and gotten all of these muscles really online and working again. So today we're going to start with some yoga, some gentle yoga, some Pilates mat work, and some stretching. And if anything feels uncomfortable, don't do it. This is not about pushing yourself. It's about making yourself stronger little by little. If you have any questions, you can ask them down in the comments. I will get back to every single one of you. And, we're working from home here. You're welcome to bring your children to the live sessions. Do whatever you need to do to get on the mat and get your body moving. It is the only thing that really can keep us sane right now, is keep those endorphins flowing, keep that blood flowing, keep the lymph flowing. The lymph glands here and here are moved and work when we move our bodies. So let's get started. Come to the front of the mat. A rug will do, whatever you've got at home. Just a little bit of padding between you and the floor is nice. And take a nice deep breath in. Reach up for the ceiling and feel the front of your chest open here, but you're not tilting your rib cage out the way people like to do in yoga. You're just feeling those shoulder blades come down the back, arms up, breath in, and breathe out to come down, and just let your body hang here for a moment. Take another breath in, feeling your belly expand against your feet. And breathe out and hang a little more. Take a nice deep breath in and lift to flat back. Think about your shoulders coming up, not your head. So you're not doing this and cranking through the back of the neck. You're just straightening your shoulders out from your hips. That may mean you're up here. No judgments. Wherever you are is where is best for your body. And breathe. Where were we? I'll have to cut that out. And breathe out. Breathe out again. And hang. Give your hips a little wiggle. You can bend your knees a little here or straighten them. Again, if you're here, that's totally fine. On the next in-breath, lengthening through the spine like somebody's pulling your head out from your butt. We could all use a little of that. And then palms flat on the ground. Step one leg at a time back to a plank. I drop to my knees because I have an umbilical hernia, or if you have a diastasys, or if you're just not all that strong in your core yet. Now lower down with your hands coming right next to your boobs. Flatten your toes on the ground. And coming up. If you're going to lift your body up high, you want to make sure your hips are coming with it. You don't want to be arching hard through the lower back. Lengthening through the front of the chest. If you want to lift up to upward dog to the tops of your feet, you can do that, but not if you have a diastasis or a hernia. Tucking the toes under, coming up by lifting the abs up through the butt till it goes to the sky. You can stay up on the toes for a minute. Give those toes a stretch. Really feel your entire hands coming into the ground. If you need to bend your knees here, that's fine. Really try to stick your butt to the ceiling. And then lengthening through the legs, placing the full foot down. Breathing in, breathing out, and looking at your belly button. So we don't want to be collapsing the rib cage towards the floor. As much as that can feel good between the shoulder blades, you really want to make sure you're keeping a nice tuck in the lower pelvis, keeping those lower abs, Kegel muscles engaged. And let's take 5 deep breaths here. And gently breathing in to look to the front of the mat. You can jump, step, walk, scuttle, whatever it takes to get to the front of the mat. Lengthening into that flat back, nice and long, chin lightly tucked. And breathing out to just collapse over the legs for a minute. Breathe that belly into the tops of the thighs. Let the head shake a little forward and back, side to side. And breathing in, you can bend the knees a little bit. Coming up and arms down. Let's just give the body a little shake here. We made it through one round. While you're standing here, I'm going to step back so you can see my feet. What I want you to do is make sure your feet are pointing forward. Make sure your knees are slightly bent, and then pull all of your toes up off the ground and feel those 4 corners of your feet, front and back, evenly on the floor. You can even rock back and forth a little bit. And feel where you're balanced right over the arches, and you can let your thighs completely relax. They're not holding you up at all. And then spread your feet out. And really try and move those big toes towards the center line. That muscle can be hard to find, but if you can work at this, it will save you from bunions and help your bunions get better. From that position with toes really spread wide, and a little bit of engagement through that pelvic floor, lower abdominal area. Breathe in and up. Reaching back for a minute if you want, but still trying to keep those lower abs engaged. Those upper abs, lower ribs. And reaching way up tall to come forward. And breathing out. Breathe in, coming up to a flat back. Breathe out to step back, lower down. Breathe in to come up, and breathe out to go back. I guess I need to move back on the mat here, huh? We'll figure this out. And just take 5 deep breaths here. Again, feeling your, making sure to feel your pelvic floor slightly engaged and lifting. Your lower abs a little engaged. That means pulling the area like below your belly button back towards your sacrum. And you can even suck your belly button into your spine a little bit. Making sure to stare at your belly button if you can. Twisting the front of the elbows forward. Feeling the hands fully on the floor. Shoulder blades sliding towards the butt. Toes relaxing. Heels reaching to the ground. And when you're ready, stepping forward, coming up to a flat back, And coming down to hang. And we'll just wait here for a minute till everyone else is done with their breaths. Take your time. You can also come to this position sooner if down dog is uncomfortable for you. If you have really tight hamstrings and you're doing down dog like this, that's not really what we're trying to get at. What we want to do is be stretching these muscles. So you can just come into whatever forward bend is comfy for you. You can leave a light bend in the knees or keep them straight. Try not to lock them all the way back. And just hang here instead of doing the full down dog. From here, we're going to bend the knees a little bit, sweep the arms up overhead, and let's stop here for a little side stretch. Oh, good morning, side. Oh, good morning, other side. Oh, that feels really good. Let's do that again. Oh, and when you're coming up, you're lifting towards the ceiling, and then lifting towards the ceiling, but shoulder blades down the back. Oh, pulling the arm away out of that shoulder blade. And the other side, pulling everything away. All right, one more. Up. Opening the chest. Forward. Breathe in and up. Breathe out and lower down. Breathe in and come up. Breathe out, butt to the ceiling. 5 deep breaths. Whenever you're ready, look to the front of the mat, step forward, come to a flat back, hang. Just hang out here for a minute, let anyone else catch up, or just let your spine completely go. Let your head pull the body even farther forward. Bending the knees slightly, breathe in. Come up to the ceiling and hands down. Now we're going to add in a little lunge into this, getting the front of the hips, everything warmed up a little bit, a little hamstring warm up. Take a nice deep breath in, breathe out and forward, breathe in, step back, lower down, baby cobra, or up dog, come back to down dog. Just take one breath here, make sure your shoulders are not in your ears, everything's feeling nice and supported. Looking forward, you want to step one foot in between. If you need to use your hand to get this foot here, that's fine. And we're going to come up into a high lunge. And let's just hang out here for one moment. You can put your hands in a fun little pointy thing. You can have them wide. You can do this, whatever feels good. Just sinking into the front of this hip. Try and come down as low as you can. And breathe in. And breathe out to come down. Lift up. I love you back. I love you too, baby. And leg forward. Tuck your stomach back in your pants. Find your balance here. Feels good, right? Let's come down. Chaturanga. Pull through. Down dog. Now you can take those nice 5 breaths. Remember, you keep the pelvic floor engaged, the lower abdominals. Look towards the belly button. Lots of space between the shoulders and the ears. And coming up to the front of the mat, flat back. Breathe out, collapse down. Bend the knees a little bit. Come up. And arms down. One more. Right leg forward again. This time we're going to drop the back knee. And if you're just right here, that's fine. If you can come up on your knee, that's fine. If this hurts your knee, stay in a high lunge. We're going to leave the arms wide so we can really bring the shoulder blades down the back. And if you need to come out a little bit so you can really feel those upper abs engaged, and really tilting the hips back, tilting them away from that leg so you're really getting this stretch. And on the next out breath, rock forward, let the toes come up off the ground, and lean gently forward over that leg. Do a couple ankle circles here. And relaxing in. If you're up here, that's no problem. It's not about where your body is at. It's about how it feels. And you want to be at the spot where your muscle's feeling a little bit of a stretch, a comfy stretch, not yanking on it. If you haven't been stretching a lot, this will be a lot more uncomfortable in the beginning. And know that in a week or two of stretching a few times a week, it'll start to feel good. And lower yourself as far as your head will go, just relaxing here. And let's just walk it back and forth a couple times. You can come all the way forward over your knee with your body and tilt a little bit to the outside if this isn't too much on your kneecap. And then tucking your back toe under. Coming onto your hands, bringing that leg back. Down dog for a moment. Other leg forward. Again, if you need your hands, if you need to come down to your knee and walk it over, however it gets there is fine. And coming up. If you can, bring the arms up, shoulder blades down the back, and coming back to where you need to be to get that lower rib cage really integrated and those hips tilting so you're really isolating through that front of the hip, and then sink in a little more from there. Neck long. And coming back. Do a couple little ankle circles. Ankle circles here. Really just releasing into that stretch, breathing, letting your shoulder blades stay away from the ears, and always still feeling that slight engagement in the pelvic floor, lower abdomen. And just let your head hang, let everything relax here for a minute. Walk it forward again, this time staying low over the front knee, sliding a little to the outside, coming back to center. You can roll the other way, get a little bit of the inner thigh. And putting the hands down, leg back. Walk your feet till they're nice and even, about hip width, shoulder width apart. Shoulder blades away from the ears. Belly button pulling to the spine. You're trying to tighten up the tightest pair of 80s jeans ever. Trying to zip up. And your breath is coming through your spine. Your breath is going in a line from your nose basically to your butthole. And you want to feel that whole line being straight. And if your body wants to move around here a little bit to find that, I have a little twist in my spine, so it likes to go one way for a minute, then the other way for a minute.
I want to be so tired.
Breathing in, looking to the front of the mat, walking up, flat back. Folding forward. Bend the knees, sweep up and breathe in. Breathe out to center. Breathe in and up. Breathe out. Coming down. Breathe in, long back. Breathe out, stepping back, lowering down. Breathing in, pulling through. Breathing out, abs and butt to the ceiling. Take a minute here to make a little noise. Getting all that allergy phlegm out of those vocal cords. Bring the right leg forward. Come on up. Come on down. Lower down. Pull through. Back to down dog. Left leg forward. You can drop the back heel here if it's more stable. Stretching through that hip. Back down. Down. Up. You should be getting a little warm now. And relax time. 5 deep breaths. Step through, flat back, come forward, knees bent, arms up to the sky, and down. If you need a sip of water, have one now. And jump the feet just a little bit. They can be here, here, whatever feels pretty close. Breath in, shoulder blades down. Pelvic floor a little bit. If you're not sure what I'm talking about when I'm saying engage the pelvic floor, if you know what a Kegel is, or that feeling of stopping your pee, you can just do that and then let it come up a little higher into this area. You're basically pulling your butthole into your spine and your junk up into your stomach like it's coming straight up in. And those are the muscles that you kind of want to keep engaged all the time. This can be a walking meditation when you're going down the street. Just think about, is that engaged? Is that engaged? And then everything else can relax around it. This is like our basket that holds us all up all day long. And if that basket is weak, we go like that. If that basket is strong, everything falls into place. Starting with the feet, of course. All righty. Bend forward. Grab your toes. if you can. If you cannot, grab wherever you can grab and give a little tug. First, coming into a nice flat back, feeling that spine going long. Breath from your butt right out the top of your head. Really feeling that pelvis tilting forward. So your back is not trying to come down any lower. You're just tilting that pelvis forward and tilting those sits bones up to the ceiling. Up, 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 long, but not pushing the knees back. Hyperextended, making sure if you have a mirror that you can see you're not hyperextending. Let's take another deep breath in, really feeling the backs of those legs growing long, four corners of the feet on the ground. And now letting the body relax forward. Deep breath, abdomen against the legs. I love you too, baby. Shoulders away from the ears, although they're going to be hanging a bit, but you don't want to be scrunching them. And now, grab those toes a little tighter. Breathe in. As you breathe out, really peel that stomach away from the tops of the legs, up into the belly. And engage those shoulder blades a little bit down the back and apply a little traction with your arms. And let your head drop even more. Let your face totally relax, jaw, front of the neck.
Mama.
And if you can, lift the feet up and put your hands under your feet.
Excuse me, Mama.
Just one moment, honey.
Okay.
And now again, not letting those shoulder blades yank up to your ears, really pulling those shoulder blades back to give you that pull forward into the stretch. 5 breaths here, nice and deep. Yes, my love? What did you want, Dylan? Dylan? I guess he's fine. If it feels too intense in the hamstrings, just give the knees a little bend. You don't want to yank on tight muscles. That doesn't make them happy. You want to give them space to release. Breathing in so your hips expand wide.
How to make a candy machine in 2 candy dispensers.
And bending the knees a little, rolling back up. I'm putting my hands there to show that you're tilting the hips to roll up. All right, moving on to triangle pose. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing. You're going to stand at the front of your mat. Step out about 3 feet, just a nice comfortable. We're not trying to stretch our inner thighs. Point the front foot away from you. Move the back heel back, so the back heel's at 45-degree angles. If you want to have a little better balance, move your feet a little wider apart so you have a little space between them, or you can have your heels in line, whatever feels easy. We really want to be working on form right now, and then once the form gets really good, we can really push into things more. And bring the arms nice and wide and long here. And you want to think that your whole body is in between just 2 pieces of wall, and you're moving within that space. So you can bring your shoulder blades nice and down the back, shoulders as far down as they'll go, but keeping that rib cage engaged, right? If you have tight shoulders like me, just this will feel like a stretch. Take a nice deep breath in. Again, not arching through the rib cage. Deep breath and slide the rib cage forward like somebody's just pulling on that arm, letting yourself lean forward a little bit, that back hip come out, but staying right between those 2 pieces and then tilt forward here. You can bring your hand to the inside of the leg if you want to help twist yourself open, looking up to that upper arm. If this is enough stretch, you can stay there. You should really be feeling it along the side of the body. So the goal is not how far down my leg can I reach, and now I'm doing a completely different stretch. The goal is how straight can I keep my body between those two walls in the same plane and bring my arm up and overhead while keeping my shoulder down the back and the abdomen engaged, right? Neck long, shoulder down, breathing. And if you want to, you can twist a little in the hips to drop down a little lower now. So you're kind of just letting this hip pop out a little bit, but still trying to keep that open twist. But now we're moving into a little more of a hamstring stretch. Looking up towards the hand as much as is comfortable. If you can grab the toe here. It's not happening for me today. Again, keeping that abdomen pulling up and in. Nice deep breaths here. On the in-breath, you want to think about your form. And on the out-breath, sinking in a little deeper. And breathing in to come up long through the back hand. Come to center. Switch the feet. You may need to move the back heel over a little bit so you've got a comfy stance. And now really pulling to the front. Hips to the front. Shoulders to the front. Trying to keep the upper body as straight as possible even though the legs are turned. Shoulders down the back. Arms long, really rotating those shoulder blades down the back. Rotating those upper arms back so you're not doing this. You're doing that. You're keeping these guys engaged. These guys engaged. Tilt right within that wall. Oh, oops. And reaching forward, forward, forward. Coming up. And that would be too bad if Dylan can't come in on these sessions anymore. Breathing, breathing, keeping this arm rotated out. This arm rotated out. And then pop that hip out. Come down into a hamstring stretch. Deep breathing. If you're up here, that's fine. It doesn't matter where you're at. It matters what you're doing. And coming on to come up. Oh, okay, now twisting triangle pose. Step out. Arms up again, shoulder blades down the back, lower ribs in, lower abdominals engaged. Breath, where do you breathe in this position? Into the back of the ribs. Into anywhere you can except for here, basically. And now we're gonna twist like a windmill. And you're gonna rotate this back palm up to the ceiling as you come forward with this palm. You can bring the legs closer together if you need. What we're aiming for is to get that front hand on the outside and up. I can't do that most days. Some days I can. So we're just gonna put the hand wherever you can. If your hand is on your leg, that's totally fine. Again, what we want to be able to have in the right position is your shoulders away from your ears, your legs nice and long, lower abdominals engaged, looking towards the ceiling. And how close or far away from the floor you happen to be when you have all of that in the right spot doesn't matter. Now we're going to breathe in to pull ourselves up by that top hand and circle the arms around and come to the other side. Again, you're probably going to have to pull your back heel over a little bit, get all that settled, twisting, really feel this pull, this arm pulling, this arm twisting, but keeping that back leg grounded in. You always want the back side of your foot firmly on the ground when doing these poses. Coming forward, really twisting that chest open, open, reaching to the ceiling, neck long out of the shoulders, shoulders down the back, pelvic floor engaged. Deep breaths. Coming up, opening to the front, and closing to the front of the mat. Give a little shake out here. Let's have more fun.
That's the one that I said.
Now we're going to step out wide. Move the feet wide apart as is comfy, and you can still keep your hips tilted normally. You don't want to be like that. And whatever's comfy on the knees, you don't want to be falling in. Make sure the outsides of those feet are on, but neither do you want to be doing this. Four corners of the feet, you can lift the toes for a minute to feel that. Shake the top of the body. Arms out. Deep breath in. And come forward. Come forward wherever is good for you.
Pac-Man board.
If you can get your head to the floor, great. If not a problem. If you're nowhere near the floor, also not a problem. Take some nice deep breaths here.
Oh, Mom. Sometimes can we get connect 4 shots? It looks pretty fun. It's like connect 4, but you have to like throw it in.
And come up to half back. You can move your feet in a little bit before you come up. I always feel more stable doing that, but they're not going to slide away. Lengthen through that back, really tilting that hip forward in this position. And then bend the knees slightly, breathe in to come up the rest of the way. Now we're going to bring hands to the hips. And bending forward all the way. Just hang here. You can move the hips a little if you want in this position. Nice deep breaths, really letting the head be loose. Slight pelvic floor engagement, or mula bandha as it's called in yoga.
417.99.
Bend the knees slightly to come up. Honey, I need you to be quiet, okay?
Okay, I'm just
Thank you. I'm going to turn this way so I have a little more mat to work with.
done.
Okay. And clasping the hands behind the back. Breathe in. You can flip them over if that's easier on your shoulders. Nice and tall, lower ribs engaged, shoulder blades down the back. And tilting forward from the hips. Let the arms come up wherever they can. Really focusing on tilting the hips forward. So you're really lengthening those hamstrings. If you can widen your stance here, go for it, but don't hurt yourself. Coming up, arms down to the ground, shoulders, collarbones really open, releasing the arms. Breathe in and come forward. If you can, grab the toes, not necessary by any means. Grab whatever you can. Giving a little traction, pulling in. Sits bones to the ceiling. I mean, not really, but imagine.
Misses.
And now let's walk over a little bit towards one leg for a minute. You can tilt your hips away from that leg if you want. Making sure to keep the chest open, shoulders open, head relaxed, pelvic floor engaged, lower abdominals engaged. Walking over to the other side. Pull the body long through the arms, shoulder blades down the back, and then come forward. You can sink into that hip a little bit.
Mrs. Pac-Man walking.
And come back to center. Bend the knees, roll up. And let's do a little quad stretch. My favorite is just the good old-fashioned grab a wall if you need, or stand in the middle of the mat. Let's see how my, no, I think I need a wall today. Grab the wall. And the goal here is not how high can you get your ankle. It is how open can you get the front of the hip, right? So you want to really tuck the hip, keep the knee in line, touching the other knee, and then gently pull the heel in. If this is too hard, you can do this lying on your side on the ground. If that's more comfy, grab the other side. Right, just keeping that knee connected, pulling it in. If this is hard on the shoulder, you can use a strap. And now we're going to come down to the floor. Okay, come onto your backs. Your knees can fall together or they can be straight up, whatever's comfortable here. Let's just take a minute, roll the head side to side, feel the body flat on the floor. If you've been hunched over a computer, this alone can be a stretch. Bring the knees up to the chest and keeping the knees hooked together and higher than the waist, roll over to the side. Put your bottom hand on your top knee so you're really keeping them up and you're keeping them stacked. Open the shoulder to the side. So the goal here is to actually have your shoulder be a little bit off the ground. So you're really keeping those hips stacked, that knee forward, and then you can get a stretch through that pec, opening up the front of the chest. Feeling your breath come down that column of your spine and just twisting your body around it. Twisting around that central area. And coming over to the other side. Breathe in, breathe out. And you can move the arm up and down a little bit here. You can see I've gotten nice and warm today. Get sweaty. Let's get sweaty. We gotta sweat out all those toxins from sitting around, stressing out. Come up to center, give those knees a little hug in. Let's grab our feet for a little happy baby moment, really feeling that lower back flatten against the ground, feeling the shoulder blades come towards the ground. Go, 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 ga, 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 ga. And you can straighten the legs out for a minute. If you're not grabbing your feet, that is not a problem. And just roll around on your spine here for a minute. And let's work on those abs. This is an ab series that is absolutely safe for postnatal umbilical hernias like mine. If your insides are poking out your belly button, you can still do this. Diastasys, anything. This is a safe ab workout. The main thing to remember is never let your back arch up. However, you don't want to be cramming the entire thing flat against the floor. So you want to have a nice little tuck. So we're just going to practice that for a minute. Arching, tucking, arching, tucking. And you can do some nice circles around if you want. And then come back to a neutral position. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel that Kegel happen. Feel the lower abdominals engage. Feel the belly button squishing towards the back. If you feel that you start clenching back here to make that happen, back out of it a little bit. We want to be only using the muscles we want. And when we get rid of all the extra muscles, then we can start to load up the ones we want even more. For now, it's about finding the right muscles. Deep breath in, engage those upper abs, everything now nice and solid, shoulder blades pulling down the back. You're getting a real isometric exercise here, pulling up through the pelvic floor, up, 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 up through the butthole, down through the ribs. You can imagine an X of rubber bands coming from your rib cage to the top of the hips, really feeling that engaged. Breathe in here, keeping it engaged, breathing into the back ribs, pulling those Kegels up the middle. And then one leg at a time, you're going to peel your foot off the ground and lift your leg, not letting this move. So you can do this with your hands on your hips. You don't want it to go like that. You don't want it to go like that. Absolutely solid. This is a brick in the center. Keep breathing small sips of air as you need to while I talk. And on the next out breath, if you haven't already, lifting one leg to tabletop, breathe in, breathe out, and lift the other one up. Now we're going to bring our knees in so that it's not taking a lot of strength to hold them up. Really feel that abdomen scooping down. You might feel your lower back flat on the floor here. That's fine. And keeping those upper ribs engaged. Shoulders wide on the floor. Front of the chest relaxed. You're still engaged here. Give it an extra little squeeze. And then slowly move the toes away from you, but not letting the hips move, not arching with them. Just keeping the hips moving down, stomach moving down, legs moving away. And you're going to come as far as is comfortable for you. This is how you load up to whatever level you're at. If you start to feel your lower back peeling up, bring your knees back in. If you need a break for a second, let's all just do that because that's been a lot of holding. Now, come back in. Lower abdominals engaged, upper abdominals engaged, shoulder blades releasing down the back, neck long, collarbones relaxed, legs away. Now we're going to drop one leg to the floor and lift it back up. if that feels okay. If that's putting any strain in the lower back, either bring this knee in closer to do it, or you're just going to do little pulses here, or just hang out there, whatever stage you're at. If you're really advanced, you can do straight legs here, but only if you can hold those abs in and you feel nothing in your lower back. Let's do a few more each side. Shoulder blades open. Really feeling that entire rib cage on the floor. Upper ribs pressing down. If you're feeling a little tension in the neck, you can put something under the head. You can even put the hands under the head here. That can help you keep the shoulder blades wide. Okay, coming up to center, keeping that loading, keeping those abs. We're now going to just tilt the hips to bring the knees in. So you're not moving the legs, you're tilting the hips. Just flattening that lower back a little bit more. And when you come back, only coming a little bit, no arch. And hugging the knees in here. Let's relax for a minute. Yes, honey? And let's do one more ab. So again, feeling everything relax, release into the floor, engaging those upper abs down, shoulder blades down the back, engaging the lower abs in, hands behind the head. We're going to twist a little bit, but we're not thinking about bringing our elbow to the knee. We don't care where our elbow goes, other than that it stays open. What we're twisting, what we're aiming with is our armpit, or the front of our shoulder. And to the other side, keeping that lower back really pulled in tight to the floor, lower abs working. You can add a little leg movement here. You can add a big leg movement if you feel like you want more burn. Really sucking that lower abdomen down to the floor. Hips are not moving anywhere. Shoulders are open. Neck is open. Whew. I'm toasted. If you want to keep going for a minute or two, you can do another couple, or you can come and rock back and forth. As soon as your abs are no longer strong enough to hold your back in the right position, you want to come out of this. Again, what we're trying to do is train these muscles to do the work, not these guys. So the minute you feel those engage, you have to go back to just what you can do without them engaged until they learn to stay out of the picture. And let's just come up to sitting for a minute. Oh, good, 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 good. Good, 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 good. And let's roll our head around for a minute. I had my first corona dream last night. I haven't even been remembering my dreams. I've been sleeping so soundly. But not while I'm talking, honey. Now I have to start over and it will take longer. I'm trying to finish now. I had my first corona dream last night. I haven't been remembering my dreams, so maybe I've been having some. But I had a dream that everyone was like, had these awful haircuts. And they were all cutting their own hair. And I was like, why is everyone just hacking off their own hair? And then I realized, oh, right, because we're all stuck home with no hairdressers. And roll your neck from one side to the other side. You don't need to roll back here. You don't want to squish the neck. Oh, just hang out in a spot that feels good for a minute. Mm.
Long.
And let's do a couple. Oh, circles. The idea here is you're really circling your rib cage around, but not tilting it, circling it. Oh, okay. Do whatever else you need to do here. If you have time and nobody jumping on you, take a moment to meditate. Thank you all for joining me. And please let me know what you think in the comments. I really am excited to be on this journey and do what is best for everybody out there.